Welcome back to Jibambe Tech Festival. We are so excited to have you back. This is our last workshop for the day, and I kid you not, this workshop is going to be amazing. So before I introduce the moderator of this workshop, I'd just like to thank you for joining us. I'd like to thank all the panelists we've had, all the amazing participants, the people who've been following us, asking questions. We appreciate you. For our partners, thank you so much. We have dennismbuthia, who is a professional motion graphics and game developer. He's going to teach us about different tools for 2D level designs. He is going to show us the different tools that we can use to do this, demystifying also the 2D level design. Yeah. Dennis, are you ready for this workshop?
Thank you so much. Oh, yes. Thank you, Sheila. It's great to be here and great to share with the resource what I know to everyone who's interested. So it's going to be great.
Thank you. So I think you can just go ahead and start the workshop, give yourself a befitting introduction, and maybe share your screen and take away the workshop.
Okay, great. So my name is Dennis Mbuthia. As she mentioned, I am an animator and also a game designer. I teach video game design and development at Africa Digital Media Institute. And it's been an amazing experience being one of the first schools that actually is teaching video game design and development within East Africa. So it's amazing. It has its challenges here and there, but largely getting to see the talent that the students who have come in are showcasing, it's really, really good. And in fact, even one of them has something available on the Play Store that people can be able to play around with. So I'll probably share the link at some point. Yeah. So today we're going to be learning about level design, and this is a subsection. What people usually don't really know is that level design is a subsection of game design. So let me start off with game design, and then you break it down to level design. So game design is whereby you have an idea of what it is that you want to make a game on, and then now you break it down into the various items, into like the challenges, the rewards, how exactly does a level look like, what will be the components that will be in a level, what is the motivation the character will be having, what are the obstacles and challenges that they'll be facing, what are the movements and what are the abilities the character will be having to move so that they can be able to achieve their motivation. So, for example, Super Mario, the ancient of all games, but one that is memorable to very many people, and a very important game in the history of all games. Mario is a plumber, and all he has to do is to get the princess who's been kidnapped. So that is his motivation. He needs to get the princess. But what does he have to face? He has to face the gaps. He has to face some flowers that are on the plumb lines that want to eat him up. There are some turtles that are after him. There are some fish that are flying. There are some flying turtles also. So there are so many things that he has to overcome. So what are the tools that you're going to equip Mario with so that he can be able to get the princess? So he has to run and all that. Running, shooting some bullets, and um, jumping so that he can get some mushrooms for him to grow bigger and be able to move and across certain obstacles. So those are the things now that you usually do in game design. But now, once you have identified those things, you now make it more. You now have to figure out how are those obstacles going to be laid out into the game itself. And so what we do is that's now where the level design comes in. What is that world? What is that environment that needs to be put in there? And where do you put the obstacles such that somebody may progress in the difficulty of the obstacles that they're going as they increase in their skill. So now that we've talked about the world that we're going to engage in, now we can delve into what I had prepared as my PowerPoint. So let me just run that and share my screen. And there we go. Okay, great. So yeah, here is Unify Your Unity using the game design as a focus, 2D level design. And then we're going to be looking at this to one tool, which is specifically the shape tool, but we need to understand about meshes and sprites and where they come in, especially when it comes into the game design world. So to begin with, I would I'll start off with looking at what the meshes are. So a mesh is a net of points that are connected by invisible lines that form triangles. And this just gives you the form of the object itself. So the combination of these vertices in 3D space, it creates that impression of a solid object within the Unity engine. So what now to give you a clear picture of basically what it does look like is this. So these blue dots that you have here are now what we refer to as the vertices themselves. So as you can see, they are kind of giving you an idea of the shape that it's going to be. And then you see those lines that are appearing. Those are now the invisible lines that I was talking about. And you'll see that they are cutting across like a face. So if you may look at this, these 4 vertices there, that's a face, okay? And in this case, we are looking at 3 faces. This is one phase, this is another one, another set of another phase, and this is another phase. So there are 3 phases. And then we have now this points, the vertices, that now would, when it's highlighting, you'd see that it cuts across diagonally. That is so these are edges, and that diagonal line also is an edge too, that is kind of cutting across the whole face so that it divides it up into triangles. Now, that's a very important concept to understand, because the base of a mesh is actually a triangle. So, and those triangles kind of are put together so that they can be able to make something like this is the smallest unit of a polygon that can be made to contain some graphical information. So now, how does Unity now have to draw this particular draw what we have seen now here? How does Unity do that? So it has something called now normals. These are vectors that determine which way a particular triangle is facing and how light bounces off it. Okay, so now it seems like this is getting a bit complicated. So let me just show you let me share something else so that I may be able to walk you through to be able to understand it better. So this is my whiteboard, and you can see that this is a subsection or yeah, the same box that we had seen earlier. So, and then it's been made with those vertices that we had seen. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is phase number 1, this is phase number 2, and this is phase number 3. So what happens is that Unity will break all of this down into this one shape. That is a triangle. Okay. And then, okay, so like in this case, one face will be made out of 2 triangles like that. And you can see that currently they are kind of sharing the same vertex, this vertex, this one and this one. It's fine. There's no problem about that. Because Unity will be able to, it recognizes each and every one of them. Now, assuming that I draw like a cylinder like that. I draw my cylinder. Now, there is a concept called backface scaling, which is now that normal thing was talking about. Okay, when all these items here, the polygons that have made up this shape. Okay, so because it's all going to be made up of very many polygons, like of those triangles, breaking them down like that. So all of these ones are facing us, okay? So because of saving of memory, because one of the things that you'll notice, like in this box that we have here, you notice that we don't see the other, the other part like that cube. Do you see we don't have that? The reason is the computer is going to be trying to save some memory. It doesn't need to exist. So what it will do is that it will cut it off. It will decide, I will not going to show this part because it's not being used at the moment. And that's what now backface scaling is. That whatever it is that is in front of us right now, like the faces 1, 2, and 3, we can see them. While the other faces, the ones that are usually at the bottom here, which would be 4, 5, and 6 at the back there, we are not going to see them. So it eliminates them. So just like this one, it doesn't, what you will find is that the computer will not have this particular section. It will not have that. Instead, what it will draw for you so that it can save on its memory is that. So you'll not see the complete cylinder. You'll just see that particular part of the cylinder, and that's it. So it helps in being able to save on space and be able to make things look feel much better. So when they were talking about a normal, that's what they were saying, that if it's facing us this way, this is now the normal. It's kind of perpendicular to this whole thing. Don't worry. I know it sounds, technical and all, but just bear with me. So this is the cube that you are looking at. A bit better. Don't recognize it. No. Okay, there we go. Yes, good. So this is the side that is facing us. Okay. So this side is what is going to be displayed. But if the camera, this is where now, like, if you have to put color onto it like this, when you have color onto it like that, this is what you'll be seeing when the camera is facing it. But whatever is at the back, okay, you will not be able to see it. It will look like it's empty, it's transparent, because the direction that the mesh is trying to look at us from, it's focused for us to see is the one facing us. So, and that's now just how meshes operate. So back to my presentation. So that now I was defining what a normal is. These are vectors that determine which way a particular triangle is facing and how light bounces off of it. So where you are seeing the angle is the one that was showing us which side it was supposed to go. Then we have the UV map, and that is it maps a material. It maps a material onto an object, specifying how the textures wrap around that shade. So the box that we had, if we wanted it to, now when I was trying to put the color onto it, now that's what now the UV map is about. It says that this box needs this material right on top of it. So how is it going to end up looking? And that's what it contains. Then how is this displayed now? And now this displaying onto the screen is what is known as rendering. So the mesh filter, it has two components for it to be displayed. A mesh needs two components, and one is a mesh filter, and then the second one is a renderer. The mesh filter, it stores the mesh data for model, basically what the model should look like. And then the renderer, now it has what exactly should be the materials that the mesh should have. Okay. So this one captures the material, while this one captures the shape of what the object, the model itself. Okay, so now that's just on meshes. That's us looking at meshes and being able to understand how they specifically work. So the next thing would be now coming into sprites. So as I mentioned, now one part of all this was understanding how meshes work. And meshes, as you've seen, they are basically 3D items. While sprites, on the other hand, are very simple, straightforward items, and they are just 2D graphic objects. That's it. Okay? Like it's just but an image that you'll be looking at. And I'm going to show you an example of how exactly the sprite looks like. And then they are also just standard textures. it's what is placed at times. Sprites are what are placed onto a 3D sort, quote unquote, into a 3D object, such that it makes it have now that volume. So now those are the two ways those two items look like. So if I move into Unity briefly before I delve into it completely, I'll just show you, give you an idea. So this is an example now of a tile of a sprite. Just having this, as you can see, it's like a texture. It's like just but an image. If I zoom in closer, you just get to see it's like painted on plants and the rocks and all. This is now what has combined is being put onto this. Now this grid that you're seeing here, okay, that's just the division, and this is now called the tile map, whereby each and every square that you're seeing is a representative of where a sprite is going to be placed. So like in this case, this is a sprite that has been placed onto this tile. Like, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So it has taken about 7 sheets to put together now this particular platform where our character can be able to play. So if we play this, okay, you can see that your character will be able to there we go. Okay, so now you've given them a place where they're going to be able to work from. Okay, so this now just created that particular environment for them to be in. So now how the sprites now work in this case, you now have to use now yeah, I was just mentioning this so that I can take you go back to my presentation. Now, when it comes to now level design, let's get to look at it practically. How does it actually fall into level design specifically? So here we have Super Mario Bros. The first thing that you always do whenever you're doing level design is that you always would want to draw this out. You need to draw it and get to show people, hey, your designers and the people that you're working together with on how things are going to end up looking like. So in this case, we have the one of the game designers or level designers who actually just sat down and painted this out on a Cartesian plane. A Cartesian plane is basically graph paper, and you can see that it's been divided into grids. Yeah, just very similar to what you had seen in Unity when I was showing you the grid lines. So with these grid lines, now they ended up having to paint each and every part. So now, not in as detail as you will see in the next slide, but they ended up painting out like, hey, this is how the level will look like. This is where there'll be a coin box, coins, and with question marks that you don't know what you're going to expect, and the other one, you know, you're going to get some money. Yeah. So then this is the space that you need to jump over, then jump, then get to this other box, then jump again, like that. So you actually plan each and everything that the person who is as a user, the person who's playing the game, what world are they going to interact with, and this is it. So like that, then they pick up the coins, then you give them the different challenges and tasks that they need to do so that they can be able to get challenged and get thrilled into what they're supposed to be doing. So this was what they started off with. As you can see, they started here very simply on getting to help somebody understand, oh yeah, this is the world, you need to jump, this is how you jump. And then you're introduced now to the first time you get to see a pipe, and then another more intricate level of, slightly more vertical approach, going upwards, then back down. Then, you have to now see, how am I going to make this experience different? Now, this time you have to go underneath, go back underneath, hit this so that you can pick up the coins. And like this first time where you were just walking across and then you hit, and then now you can easily. So like that. So jump, 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 then go. So all this time, as a level designer, you are trying as much as possible to give the most engaging experience somebody should be able to have without getting bored. So like that. Then now here we see that they now increased and have a few more pipes coming in, so that you can go down, get to see probably an underground room. Then you can, when you're done, you get out of it from here. Then now you need to go to other things. Then you have your obstacle here, which is a turtle. So you have all these different opportunities here that are being presented. So as a level designer, you need to really think through about how exactly are how are they going to be done. And I also want you to note that, do you see how linear this is? Like, it feels like it's just made up of squares, 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 squares throughout. And that's why I added onto the tool that I'll be showing you in a few minutes. So here we have, again, more pipes and combinations. Then finally, when now it was actually put into view, this is what it looks like. We end up now getting to see, oh, okay, so here are the turtles. Okay, so here is gob and all. And so now is that now being able to jump. So there are two parts towards all this. You get to see that this is a brick, sort of like the texture that you have here is different. They are all different, and they all show you something about it. The bottom one feels more like a ground. It feels like it's something that we cannot penetrate through. And then these boxes, which means also the same thing. We cannot penetrate it, but they seem to be more solid. So this could be, like metallic blocks or something, while this one feels more like earth, kind of, because earth is the one that kind of looks a bit more jagged and all. So, and then you can see the coins that are up here, they kind of are inviting you to, hey, be curious about this. So this is really important when it comes to level design, in being able to communicate about something that somebody should be able to do. That, hey, raise someone's curiosity for them to be, for it to be enough for someone to want to explore that particular area. So yeah, jump in, jump on top of that, okay, go there. Now you can see have some question marks, hit that, get to see what are you going to do? Are you going to get a coin? Are you going to get the mushrooms? We don't know. Then here there are mushrooms. So yes. Then now let's look at Sonic the Hedgehog. So this is a particular level, the green zone. Do you see? I hope you can be able to see and appreciate how different this time it is. Previously, everything here is, boxy. You don't have anything that is round per se in terms of the level. This is very flat and all. But now when it comes to Sonic, they give you some, some kind of contours up and down of sorts. And now that kind of looks like, that's interesting. Okay, what possibility is there for me if I actually do this, use it this way? So, and this of course changes the gameplay. So level design, the focus always that is there on level design, again, is making sure that somebody gets interested in the level that they're creating. And for you to do that is that you need to give somebody opportunities for them to use their skills to the best. And to do so, you change a bit of the environment. You can either have it as static, and you can see there are so many things that you can be able to do here, and even have an element of the most important element anybody needs to have, even when they're playing a game, or most of the time, is presented to them, and that is choice. Okay, because now when you've jumped on, like for example, when you jump on top of here, you have two things you can do. Either jump here, then hit this, or jump here and then come and hit this one. Or you can do all of that. You can jump here, pick this, jump down here, come back, jump and hit all the others. So you have several ways you can be able to tackle it, but it's a choice for you to decide your own path. And it's amazing whenever you do that, because you always feel that you're in control. And that's the beauty of games. You always feel like you're in control when you're doing this. So then the same, now in Sonic, they give you now that feeling of curves and all. And this is important because of how Sonic runs. When Sonic is running, he ends up turning into a small ball, and then now he's moving forward and wants to, if he ends up meeting such obstacles that are hard-edged, like in this example, then it becomes difficult. You're like, okay, so I can't keep on jumping or wanting to run as much as I want to. Because Mario, on the other hand, because he moves a bit more slowly, you can have a bit more time. Moving from this point of the screen up to this point of the screen may take you about 2 minutes, 3 minutes to do. But Sonic, on the other hand, moving from this point to this point, it may take him about 1 minute because he is moving very fast. And depending on the player that is controlling it, he can move very, very fast. So you need to adjust. And this is why this is a subset. Level design is a subset of game design, because knowing how your character is moving and interacting with the environment, then it's very easy now for you to create something that will make use of your character's abilities. And in this case, Sonic's ability is for him to run really fast. He can run fast and he can be able to turn in the air and all that. So that gives it that opportunity to do so. Okay, so before I move any further, are there any questions?
Yes, we have some few questions. So
Awesome.
the first one is, can someone use Unity without knowing how to code?
So yes, to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because you need to do a lot of manipulation of some items. And the best way to do that is when you understand a bit of the behind the scenes of being able to work on the code. So there are two things that you need to understand when you're using Unity. One is that it's a visual interface that can help you and that navigates in either 2D space or 3D space. So you need to have a bit of experience, or you can learn using Unity on that area, but you need to get into a bit of coding to be able to manipulate some functions even much more. And usually they try and make it as much as possible not too difficult, and because there's a whole community that is able to support it, so that even entry is not too hard.
Okay, thank you. There's also a question around script writing, especially on choice, which you mentioned it's very important when designing. Do you make to ensure that the user has that? How do you go about doing that, like the script around choice?
Okay, so if I may share my screen as I explain that.
And also in the same light, for options, do you have to write a script for each option that you're giving them? You're giving the user?
Okay, great. So whenever you're presenting, when you're making the game, what the things that you need to have in mind is that your character is going to move in this entire environment, for instance. If one of the tools. Yes. So, for instance, if this was not there, that's fair enough. Should change the color. Yeah. So assume this object is not there. You definitely, the only choice Mario would be having once he lands here is either to jump here and then come down here and now hit this and hit that. Remember, there's danger that has come in here. So when you're scripting or making up the, when you're designing the game and actually programming it, all you have to do is this. The enemy here has its own life. That this animal, I mean, not the animal, this obstacle, its aim is to stop you from going to where you want to go. So its aim here is to stop you from hitting this one. So it's already been scripted in that this is what it's supposed to do. Okay. Then when these options that you're having here, the question mark that we do have, these ones have already been programmed in. That if somebody hits this, then they're supposed to either get a coin or a mushroom. That's the only thing that you're going to dictate in the program. That okay, for this one, let it be a coin. For this next one, let it be a mushroom. For this next one, let it be a coin. That's the only thing that you're going to be saying. And usually it's a piece of code that you usually pick and then just put it there. So you've already pre-planned for all these things within the code so that even when you're presenting the matters of choice, it's automatically going to be picked up from it. So you're not coding for each and every choice per se, like if you follow this other path, what is going to happen? No, you're already using the same code everything is using. So it's inconsequential on whether this is there or not. I hope that is clear. If not, just let me know.
It's clear. I think there are so many questions just around this script as well. When you're developing the characters or the personas, do you have to write a script for each of what they will do in the game? Or generally, how do you go about it?
Yes, that's a good question. So whenever you're doing with game design, the first thing that you need, as I mentioned, is that you look at your character and then decide what is this character going to be? What are they going to do in this particular world? So in Mario's world, he needs to be able to jump. And in Sonic the Hedgehog, he is supposed to run really fast. So you need to program that character with all the attributes it needs to be able to survive in this world. Without that, then the character will not be able to do anything. And also, if you have, sorry, I stopped sharing my screen. I was going to explain something. And also this gob that you have here, or the turtle that is here. What happens is that they need to have information. They need to know, okay, I'm in this world, but what am I going to do in this world? What is my importance? Why am I here? Otherwise you'll end up being like this bush. See the bush that is here that doesn't have any, it's just there. It's not affecting the gameplay, but it's giving you an environment to look at and get to see that it's important.
Yeah.
So you need to script in everything that your character is going to be doing, even their movement and what are they going to, are they shooting at you? Are they going to be giving you life? Are they assisting you to make your progress? Yeah, so you need to script that in.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I think we can continue. If we'll get more questions, I will ping you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So okay, so from here now we move on to now, yeah. So I was explaining about how Sonic would end up having to have this kind of world that would favor him on the side of his running ability. But oh yeah, this is actually a very good example. You see the way he's going to be running, he's going to run here, and then because of this moment, that means his movement is going to be something like this. Okay, then you have to jump and then like that. Just because of this movement that this change in the environment, it gives him some kind of different way that he can be able to move, you know. And if it was like this on this other end where he's just starting off to run, he'd have to like jump up until there. That's the sequence that we would end up having. But you can see it's totally different. How he's moving here and how he's moving here are completely different. So, and now to be able to do these things effectively, you need to have a good understanding of the character again and the world that they have. This is an even better example to actually look at. So if you were to draw this, you'd see at the edge here, you'd see that he'd have to come up and then go like that. No, that's the direction that he'd have to face. And which makes the gameplay interesting and amazing. Because now even at this point, you can even decide, am I going to go this way or am I going to go this way? Okay, so why I needed to stress about this is because you get to understand why when now you're making a choice between the different options that Unity has for it, there are different ways you can be able to use. You can be able to achieve the things that I'm mentioning, the different kinds of gameplays that you have. So to do so, I'm going to just explain to you the different ways there are. There's the tile map, okay, and then there's the sprite shape, and then there's the 3D point mesh. So these are the different ways you can be able to actually implement a level within Unity. But now this specific one, this last one here, the 3D point mesh is something that will not cover here because it's been used specially when it comes to 3D games, and they are usually just to hold an image for a certain time. Yeah, it's just usually used to hold a flat image, something called billboards. So probably you've played a game and then you realize, hey, this either the blade of grass or the branches or parts of the tree, it kind of looks very flat. And then when you rotate, when you're trying to move around it, you're seeing like that face that you are looking at is also still following you. It's like you'll never get to see the back end of it. Yeah, that's called billboarding. So that movement. But so we'll not tackle that. But right now I'll tackle these two. That is the tile map and the sprite sheet. This is for level design implementation. Okay, so I'll just move on to Unity, and I will start off with the sprite shape, the tile map. Okay, so we are back here where we are looking now at our where we'll be looking at our level. So this is the world that has been created. If I was to zoom it out, this is how it actually looks like. It's basically one big flat image that has been put at the back here, and then with another set of like they look like hills and mountains at the back, and then we give a bit more life by having this boulders and rocks around it, so that it actually also feels like the place is alive. So you have to kind of layer it out so that it looks like um, a world that actually does exist, and not just some weird abstract world that there is nothing much to it. Like when you look at something like Sonic the Hedgehog and Mario, there already is so much happening. You don't even focus on the background. Right now, if I'll tell you that, for both of them, both backgrounds were purely blue, you're like, oh, they were. So now you have to now try and remember. But the things that you do remember very clearly were the kind of obstacles that were there. And that's very intentional, because we don't want to put too many things at the background that are going to end up distracting you. That's why when we zoom into our character here, we can see that how where she's at, your focus is actually just on her. So if I manipulate it, you see here it's purely just on her. Like, as much as all these things are there, she's the central point of focus that you're looking at. And so that is very, very important to always remember. Don't put things that are too distracting for somebody not to appreciate or see what it is that you're creating. Okay, so now let's move now into the editor, the tile, uh, how to work around the tile map. So this is a game kit. It's a 2D game kit. This is something that's freely available. I will I will share my entire screen for you to see this. So on Unity Hub. So whenever you're installing Unity, of course, there are all these some projects that are usually there. So there's the Learn package, Learn section, where there are projects and there are some tutorials. So like if you're really interested, in learning how to script, then now here, this already starts giving you an example of how to do it. And it's done very slowly so that you may be able to understand how it actually works and all. So there are all this, there's even this introduction to file maps and all. You can be able to have a look at them. And this directly linked to their channel. So if it's something like this, then just view tutorial, then it goes to straight to Learn Unity and all. So in this case, I want to go into the Learn project, and then I'll go down to here, the 2D game kit, this one here. And the content that is there, it's about 1 hour, 55 minutes to learn it and to understand about how to use this 2D game kit. It's a very light kit that would help you understand the 2D world within Unity without not too much programming. Like, it's just, in fact, in this 2D game kit, you don't do any programming at all. None whatsoever. So if you want to try it out, this is something that you can do. The tutorials are very, they're good and would help out. So now back here. Now, when you come here to, I want to now access the palette that is going to give me the points where I can paint. That is window 2D, and then I'll come to the tile palette. This other two, this tile editor, this sprite editor, as I mentioned, it's just the texture, it's just the surface. So in this case, you can see that this is the background that I was showing you. the one that's just making the world itself. So there is this one, and then there are others, and you can be able to slightly manipulate it to some extent and putting, the pivot points, and are you going to have pixels or not, and all. So you can be able to manipulate with that. And then same thing. Right. So now we come into the tile palette. So this, as I mentioned, as you can see, this is just an image, one image that has been created, just one alone. Same here. This is an image by itself that has been created. And then it has been imported into Unity such that you can be able to use this as a tile. And that's why it comes in as the active tile map. Okay. So there are different tile maps that have been put because, when I zoomed out, you could see that each of them have different tile maps by themselves. It's almost quote unquote layers. So one tile map that is handling the sky that you are seeing at the back there, another tile map with the mountains, another tile map with the rocks, another tile map now with where we are currently, which is active to our character. So using this, I can, using this brush, okay? So this is to paint with the active brush. Now I can be able to paint out my level. There we go. Okay, then I'll zoom out. And there we go. That's out. Okay. And so right now you can see I'm just painting out the different parts of this level. So now, this time when now I come in to play the game, initially you remember when I tried playing the game, it was just that. So okay, so there we go. Right through. So I'm actually on the wrong tile map. And that's why the character has just fallen through, even though I had painted it. So if you are to even look very keenly, you'd realize, do you see that there's a tile map here, there's something else here, what was there originally, and then there's this one, which means I'm not on the same tile map. So let me just erase that. Okay, I can see I was not in the right tile map. So all that. So let me just get to the right one, and then I will redo this. I have to look for the right tile map. Yeah, there we go. So now I'm on the right tile map. Because this one at the bottom here. You can see it's interacting by adding for me the different components. Okay, so let's go ahead and paint out. So I was in the wrong, again, the wrong layer. So there we go. Okay. So to some extent, I also don't need to completely draw everything. I can just take it up, then how far that I would want it to go. So with that, yeah. Now my character will freely be able to run. Yeah. So, okay, there we go. So that's how you completely, now you make this particular world. But you can see that this world is kind of very, again, now this looks like Mario, very, very Mario-like, where everything is more of boxes and all. So it's purely just boxes. So how else can I make this now a bit more interesting? And
so Robert just looked for blood, even though it had been sitting in the rain and mud for days.
sorry,
especially when you're
I
dealing
want
with
mic is on.
tampering with the evidence. Really just
Yeah, thank you. So now when you get to see this, it kind of feels very much like what we had seen here. This or this, it's very linear. It's so linear. You can't really do much. So to remedy that, you now have a new another option of using now the sprite shape tool. So, and how you access that is by coming here and create. Because of changing, because of, okay, this is because of using now this editor. Oh. Okay, so let me start on a new scene. Start off on a new project. So make sure that I've selected 2D because that's where I'm focusing on right now. Then yeah, just give it a few moments for it to load that particular template. So the interesting thing about Unity is that you can actually have multiple Unity projects that are running in the background. Meanwhile, as this is happening, so far, are there any questions?
Yes, we have a few questions.
Okay, great.
Yes. So the people who would want to gamify experience of film. So the question is, can you use this to gamify film? For instance, with 360 environment. Is it possible?
Yes, it is possible because now all you have to do is okay. There's quite a bit of things that you can be able to do because you see, Unity's basis is giving you up and some points of interactions that will quote unquote be used to gamify something. So do a certain action and you can be able to do something. Even the simple aspect of being in a VR room where when you click on a certain point something, then now you can be able to move to the next one. I guess a very good example of this is whenever people see this 360 degree, when they're using Google Maps, for example, and you're getting to see the 360. When you look at the 360 view of a street, you can be able to touch on some particular point, and then you can move, and you can see, okay, this is the new place. Touch on another point, and you see this other new. So with that, it already tells you that the touch controls that you have, you now can be able to add, put in that if you actually touch here, something is going to pop up. You know, if you are looking for like a treasure hunt in a 360 world, you just make sure that you put it somewhere hidden, but up until somebody gets there, then when they see it, they can touch that and then it can be picked up. So it is very possible to do more interactive 360 degree VR.
But so to take it to the next level, so assuming you record an environment, 360 environment, so it's an empty room, and then
Yes.
you allow the user inside that room to build real scenario. Is that possible?
Yeah, yes, it is possible. Yeah, you can be able to do that. And actually, it is something that has been experimented on, whereby you get into a virtual reality world, and then using a set of items, specific items that have been availed to you, you can now be able, like if you're making a wall, then you'd now be able to stack it up at this point, this point, this point, like that. You can be able to do so.
That's so cool. Yeah, that is really, really cool. Yeah.
Even in fact, they recently did an update where you can actually paint. People are painting in 3D, in a 3D environment, but in a virtual space.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those on YouTube.
Yeah. So similar, just as you can be able to do that, all you have to now do is to have an additional experience of, if you touch this point, then now you can something else now can be able to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Okay.
I think with events that can change a lot of things, with allowing people to experience gaming, either building or playing them in a real scenario by building them as you play. So it's
Yeah. It would, and I think it would be actually very interesting, and quite a bit of processing power would be needed also.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
But it is possible.
Okay. Thanks. Let me see if we have any other question.
Okay.
No, we don't have any other question. I think that
Okay,
hand
cool.
had, there was a lot of questions just around the experience and building it and how you can incorporate this in a real world or in a 360 environment. So I think your answer captured everything that was asked.
Okay, great. Good. So I'll be getting back to okay, found it. So one of the tools I was looking for had MIA.me, so now I found it. It was playing hide and seek. Okay, so I have to share my entire screen again. So even it's not detecting the other window. Oh, good. There we go. So I've just opened up a new scene to be able to show you the other option. So the other one was just on the tile maps. Now this one now is the sprite shape tool. So when you come here to your assets section, right click on it, come to create, and then yeah, there's sprite shape profile. So there is open and there is closed. Now, open means when you draw a straight line, when you draw a straight line, and it's just let me just show it. So when you draw a straight line, in this case, there you've drawn a straight line. Okay, it's kind of curved, but okay. Yeah, so when you draw a straight line, it has a beginning and an end, and that's it. But it's not enclosed, you know, like for a circle. This one is complete. This one is closed, while this one is more or less open because the beginning is not attached to the end. So that's the difference. That's what you're looking at. So so in this profile that we are creating here, this one is an open. It's an open sheet. Okay, I'm going to choose the open shape. The open shape is very good for creating levels that seem to that are very close to like sonic kind, while in this one, while closed are more for like Legend of Zelda. I mean, yeah, Legend of Zelda, The Awakening, or something like that, whereby you have a lot of flat kind of 2D worlds. I'll just show you an example so that you can be able to see how the two specifically work. So here we are with our Sprite tool. So when we create
To me. I think we've slightly lost. Oh no, we're back.
sorry
Okay,
about that.
it's fine.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so sharing. Yeah. So here we have the new Sprite chip that has been brought in. So all now we have to do is to now have a look at what all these things are. So this is looking now for the texture bits that are needed now for our program. And at the moment here we can leave it as it is. We don't need to change anything at this particular point. And then these are now ranges. Now, to properly illustrate this, I need to fill these things in so that you may be able to see what all these ranges are. But a basic summary of it is this range is just it says that this is going to be regarded as the top. Okay, this is regarded as the top. So my image that I need to see at the top here is what you see like on the top part of the ground. And then at the bottom side of the ground will be now like the bottom part of the ground will be now like this one. So you can see there's an outer top left, outer top right, outer top left, bottom left, outer bottom right, inner and inner, top and bottom, left and right, and all. So for now, what we will do is just keep this now. Let's keep it at 360 all the way. Have it at 180, 180. So what we'll do is that we'll pick up one of the assets that I had. So I'll go into my assets section. I have one that I've downloaded. that I had created actually, which is this. It's a very small, as you can see, it's a very small file. But as I said, it's a piece of grass with the top and that at the bottom. So to okay, there we go. So I can just quickly dump it into my library. Yeah. The asset. So I'll just dump it. I'll dump it into my assets here. Then I'll reconfigure it properly where it needs to be. So there, we're showing Explorer, where it is. Ooh, oh wow. So I've just realized so that this was not in the place I had actually placed it. Yeah, supposed to be here. But you know, if worst case scenario, if it ever refuses to come up, all you just do is just drag it in there, and then it will appear. It will appear as part of the what you had created. So, having seen this create sprites, the open shape, okay, and then come here to the outer top left, then the sprites. We need to give it now one of the sprites that it's going to have, so that's when you click on this, and then now you come to your top ground. And, and as you can see, it already is here. It's already here that it's been picked up. So now the next thing now is to actually now dump this into here, into the screen here. So because right now it was just an asset that has been created, but now it needs to be moved into the scene so that now it can be selected as a for it to have a profile. So now this I can come in here and rename it and call it ground. There we have it. And then when you zoom in, you can see all the texture that has been used. And then you can actually scale this up if you want to. I can take it to make it a bit bigger for you to see it. Then now when you need to edit, now you see, again, we're already on the same kind of position that we were before. Like this kind of looks like one of the levels from Mario. And now you can see that the edges don't look as neat as the other one was. Let me share my screen so that when I show you the two, you'll be able to see them consistently without having any challenges. So when you look here, you can see how seamless it is, but yet it was the one image that was being used. So in this case, I want to try and make sure that the same thing happens here. We don't see that there was this break that's appearing there, and that's it's very quick to actually change that. And to do that, you just come here to the edit spline. Oh, okay. First, let me just open this one. The edit spline bit. Okay, the edit spline gives you the opportunity to put in some of this to add some points like there. I can put in as many points as I would want to. Then I can be able to manipulate them with that. Yeah, something that we couldn't do with the other one. The other one, all I had to do was just to paint around it. And now, if I want to, can now see that I can make it very steep. Okay, I can elongate that, make that bigger and longer. Now I can be able to achieve. It's sort of, I can almost achieve what we are seeing in Mario. So not in Mario, but in Sonic. So what we now need to do is to be able to carve this out so that you may be able to change. So what you do is that you just select that vertex or that point, and then change it to previously. Right now it's on this linear tangent mode, so it's only just going to be making tangents, of course, which are right angles of a moving line or of a line, the right angle part of it. So this one's instead, we want to make that tangent mode to be continuous, and guess what happens? It now does this, whereby it carves it out. Now you can be able to have now a more carved experience for your character, instead of it being so flat and very rigid. And check this out, look at that. Before, this is what happens. It just breaks it. Pop, it just breaks it. Let's look, it's just a broken thing. But now when you tweak it as continuous, it becomes this really smooth, amazing curve that can be added straight up. No, put that there. No, also that, you can change that, to however you'd now want it to be. And now it gives you a bit of more interesting now gameplay, gameplay that can be added onto it. And yeah, so this part where is it open-ended? Now, if this was to be closed, this is what would happen if I was to deselect this. Look at the edges, the beginning and the end. This was our beginning, this is our end. Look at what happens when I deselect this. Is this open? See, it kind of tries to now close it up. Now that's what I meant. I was talking about open and closed ends. Yeah. Then there's one setting that we need to change when you come here to the new sprite. So you need to click there first. And that was, there's one of the properties that I needed that I would need to change, so that, yeah, okay. So this sprite shape, the sprite, yeah. So it was here. So you need to change this mesh type to take it to full rectangle instead of tight. Reason being, the tight usually leaves artifacts, and then it makes it a bit more difficult for the program to actually work as efficiently as it should. And that's why you leave it as full rectangle. Then remember what I was talking about, this black spaces. So even this one, let's apply that, and click this edit spline here because of this weird curve here, so that I just do that, it becomes a smooth one. So I need to click on the sprite shape itself, so that now I can edit. The sprite itself needs to be edited, and that's why I'm going to use the sprite editor here. And then see this space, I need to reduce this here a bit, so that now the program will be able to tell when it's at the edge, it will have this complete part. Like at the beginning, it will have it as complete. And at the end, it will have it as complete. But whatever is in the middle, it will take it like this is supposed to be the section for being continuous. So you'll get to see that as soon as I apply it. There we go. You see, as soon as I've applied, you see that those lines are not there. So let me undo that, so that you may be able to see it before it changes. So I need to change that there, then apply. So do you see how it's cutting? Do you see those black spots there? I mean that outline. So now as soon as I reduce this, if I just do it on one side, it will only do for one side, but then it will end up looking weird. It doesn't apply the same to the other side. So I'd also need to do the same to the other side. Okay, and then apply it. And then you see it kind of cuts it. So you can refine it a bit, but it's not necessary because this image is already going to be zoned out so far. You'll not be able to see it that well. So that's fine. And there we have it. There is your level looking good. So let's edit this part. This is the part that I didn't change this because when I undid it, it just undid that. So there we go. It's nice and smooth. Now you can be able to have a level that looks more or less like what was there before. Then now, once you have this, your entire ground level, here is your ground level. And now you can be able to add something. You can now let it be able to react with physics by now adding a component here and having an edge collider. Yeah. So you can just double click on that, click on it, and it will come in as an edge collider here. Okay. And then when you select it, you'll be able to see, and you see that green line that you have there, that's the edge collider. So we can be able to offset it a bit so that it's not there. You can move it upwards slightly. Before, yeah, something like that. This is 0.8. No, so that it's just beneath option. Yeah, just below the surface, slightly below the surface. That's that it's not floating too much out there. And then now what we'll do, now just having added that would automatically now puts us at a position where we can add an object. Sort of like a, sorry, why did I add that key? Actually, can just go Sprite and then use a sphere or a knob. Put it up there. And then be able to sorry, forgot to add something. I was meant to add here a rigid body 2D, so that now it's affected by gravity. Otherwise, it wouldn't be accepted as that. Hey, where are you? Okay. So this is still, it's not detecting. Okay, so the rigid body is acting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So as I'm sorting that out, is there any probably any other question that has come up so far?
Yes, you are in a bit of trouble. So there are
Yes.
a lot of filmmakers who are interested in this. And yes, so they want a step-by-step on how they can integrate this in their work and to just
Okay.
give people a better experience, especially in film. So they'd like to know, is it the editors who should learn this? Should the script writers be the ones who should learn this? Should the entire team just learn this so that they can work together in making this experience possible? That's the first one. I have two more questions.
Okay, so
Yeah.
all right. Okay, so the first thing is for filmmakers, is this now I mean, what I would probably want to clarify is that is it because of the interactivity that this is needed? Is that the case?
I think it's the interactivity, because the questions around how they can incorporate the Unity into their work to give people a better experience. So I think it's interactivity.
Okay. So what would I'm going to take I need to put some constraints so that now I can be able to answer the question.
Okay.
Because when you're dealing with just as a filmmaker and you're just shooting with the footage that you do have, unless it gets into now the VR world, VR or AR world, then it will be very difficult to be able to gamify or to have that additional interaction. That means now you need to move into this from just the traditional screen or in terms of the TV or the computer screen, and now you need to move into a more controlled environment where you actually have some gadgets that would lead to a trigger, for instance.
So they've already
Because
clarified it's VR 360 videos as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So one, what would happen is the producer, the crew, the creative crew behind it. Now that I guess it would be the Trinity. Would have to have an understanding of of a bit of Unity and get to see now how exactly it works. Because even right now, it's not going to be possible to capture the whatever is needed to be able to put that into the 360 space. But they would definitely want all of them to learn, because even when the editor is putting things together, they need to know at this point, this is the what is this? This is the graphical element that needs to be triggered, or this is the trigger point. So it should be somewhere where it can be visible and not obscured, by other things that are taking place within the film, unless, of course, it's intentional that has been done. So it would be good if they do have and do get to attend a session where they actually are taught how to bring in the options of interactivity into film.
Yeah. Okay, I think this tackles the second questions around script writing. The question was, will that mean now scripts have to be written slightly different? I mean, considering you're looking at different aspects.
Yes, that means a very good example would be of late, Netflix has introduced gosh, I've forgotten the name of that. Black Mirror, I think, was the first one to do this. They did an interactive,
Right in the chat. There's someone who's telling you the name of what Netflix has introduced.
Okay, great.
Oh, Bandersnatch.
Thank you for that. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah. So that particular episode in Black Mirror actually was the first one to have the option of choosing the direction should have. So because of that, now you can be able to also still do now the same. Now you have to do it in the script writing session, whereby you've gotten somebody to a position where they have to make a choice. Am I going to go up the stairs? Am I going to go down the stairs? Which means even when you're filming, you need to do the two films. You need to show if I go this direction to go into the first floor and go into the basement, I still need to find out what's going to happen. So it actually would mean that there's a lot of more filming that needs to be done than unlike the traditional linear story where you're just following just one particular story from beginning to end. Now here you have to put in all the options available. So even let me give a very good example of what goes on in my mind when I think about games in general. A game is a film, and the difference is you're only interacting and making choices with the resources that are available to you. So if it's, for instance, if you have two spears and you have three lions around you, either you have to be very creative and find out how these two spears going to end up killing two lions and then killing one more, or I will have to contend with fighting one lion. You know, so I need to see probably one of them is weaker, so probably I'd shoot the other two strong ones and then probably now find a way of running away because the other one is weaker, or there's a trap that I had seen somewhere that I can run to. So you always have to give those nuggets for somebody to be able to see. So in filmmaking, it's just the point of understanding that there is some resources that somebody may have. But in this case, in film, it can be a bit limiting because you can only, so far, it seems that you can only make a choice when it comes to the direction a story will go. So far, as per right now. Yeah.
Okay. So the last question, more of a proposal rather.
Yes.
If you would be interested in trying to do this with a 360 film crew, especially with your students, and seeing what cool things you guys can come up with.
Yes, it would be. It would be something that you can get to look at. Because in fact, my students are about to get into the attachment period. So this would be an interesting thing that they can be able to look into.
Perfect. I'll link you up with him.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that.
So I think you can carry on with the presentation.
Okay, great. Just getting back to So I was still trying to figure out the collider that was. Yeah. But I know what's going to happen. They're all going to fall down. Yeah.
Is it okay? Wait.
Sorry?
Oh no, we can see your line. It's back. Yeah. Are we making the base of the game?
Yeah, we were. So it's just that for some reason it's refusing to. Uh, so just showing you like now how the interaction, the basically interaction is going to be like, but it's refusing to pick up the other effect. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what's causing that to happen. Yeah. But basically, all you just need now to do is just to add a collider into this, and then it's fine. So generally, yeah, that's actually what I had now to be able to present. I'm trying to figure out why this is still not happening.
It's Murphy's law. It always
Sorry?
happens. Murphy's law. It always happens.
Yeah.
But it was a really
Sadly
good
so, yeah.
presentation. I think they got it, and even for people who are interacting with Unity for the first time, I think it was very clear, the steps by steps to follow. It was quite insightful. And we have a proposal for you to work with the very amazing crew in film. So that's a great thing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Africa
amazing.
Peacemakers actually would want to work with you. So that's huge. They want you on.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yes.
So
So maybe
yes,
a conclusion from your end?
Yes?
A conclusion to capture the summary of the of this workshop.
Okay. So what so the main essence of everything that I have shown was to just show you how Unity, at least when it comes to level design, what you can be able to use to be able to make interesting levels depending on what your character's environment should look like, and why you should look at one particular side over another. And yeah, and like hopefully if we do get another chance to explore a few things even more, you get to see further advantages that we have with meshes, and also some with sprites, and be able so that you even make even better decisions when it comes to making those games. However, I hope that was an eye-opener to most people who would want to do that. And it's interesting from all the filmmakers around who've been able to join us, and they're good questions. And this is basically how the future of film, especially interactive films, would come into play. And I can't wait to see what we can be able to come up with. So it would be amazing. So thank you all for the opportunity. And yeah, Jibambe na tech, wherever you are.
Yes, indeed. Jibambe na tech. Thank you so much, Dennis. This was a wonderful session, and I think we've learned a lot. We will be definitely seeing a lot of developers coming into the gaming space, because this was just quite insightful. Thank you again. We appreciate it.
Awesome.
And thank you to the participants. Thank you to the people who are following us on YouTube. We have come to the end of this workshop, but we still have the exhibition for Jibambe na Tech available until 30th of this month at Alliance Francaise. That is the exhibition of the Africa Space Makers. So please make sure you go and check that out. It's physically there at Alliance Francaise. Ensure you follow the health protocols, social distancing. You have to have a mask, and ensure that you please make sure you check this out. I would like to thank our partners, Aga Khan University. We'd like to thank Goethe-Institut Kenya. We'd like to thank Alliance Francaise, the Amaze Festival. Thank you so much. All our other partners, we thank you. The bus, this was amazing. Streaming this event was really, really great. Thank you so much. We'd also like to thank all the panelists and people who led the workshops. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. All the participants, thank you too. All the material for Jibambe na Tech will be available online. So please ensure you go and check out the website jibambenatechfestival.space. And then you can also follow this event again live on YouTube on Goethe-Institut Kenya YouTube channel. So thank you so much. Until next year, it was really amazing seeing you. It was amazing having you join us on YouTube and for the panelists. Goodbye.